Oh, there you go, we're live. It picked the exact moment I would not have wanted it to, but yeah. Let's make sure everything's working properly. Ooh. Okay. Everything's actually working. That's a surprise. Right. To be fair, I'm usually sitting for this, so. Okay. So, little change to the regular format for today. Usually I'm working on this table and just crafting. And, well, you've heard me complain a lot of times about the fact my PC is ancient and not really capable of doing this. I mean, just running this stream now, I'm looking at Task Manager and yeah, we're running about 60% CPU and the GPU is the one doing the encoding. So I got sick of it and I'm resurrecting this computer as a result. Now, this one is about 8 years old. I built it, yeah, it's around 8 years since I built it. I replaced the CPU and, well, I looked up the compatibility for the wrong motherboard and it turns out CPU doesn't work with it. So, yeah. So I now have that to deal with. But the CPU that I put in this one as a replacement is compatible with the motherboard in here, and this one has the CPU that was originally in here that is compatible with that motherboard. Pretty much for the first year of operation it didn't make a difference and I did not care that it was happening, but after that, yeah, I started getting problems with the software monitoring would say that the DRAM was getting 0 volts and the North Bridge was getting 0 volts and the South Bridge was getting 0 volts. It was still working. The software was still telling me it's not operational at all, but it's working just fine. So I ignored it in the best tradition possible. And then eventually it just got too annoying having to turn it off every time. Because to clear the fault, I had to clear the CMOS just to make it forget that it happened. And I ended up without a rig. So that one I ended up with the 13-year-old PC down there that's now running this stream. So in short, I'm going to be popping the CPU out this one, popping this CPU out, swapping them over, and very strongly regretting that I stripped this for parts, as I have to put in all the fans, hard drives, and hard drives, SSDs. I don't use hard drives. And that's pretty much it. I don't know how long this is going to take, so okay. First off, this door is going to annoy me. How do I get it off? So now there's the door on the front here. You can just pop it off because I've done it. I just can't remember how you do it. Oh, there you go. Oh wow, I forgot that this time. Okay. Right, so all the thumb screws are missing because I didn't put them back in. But at this point, I can move you. Oh wow, that's light. I forgot how light old cases were. bit of a mess in there. I mean, it's not as bad so far. I was expecting it to be much worse for a salvage job, so... So first off, I have to get the liquid cooler off. I'd forgotten about that. I mean, you get the ones basically scrap off first, but it's... Second, I did not think I was going to have to tape anything down, but... I'm used to the mounting hardware being fitted. So like, first water cooler I used, this one. Alright, where's some exposed metal that I can actually touch? Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's the earth pin. Now, because this vault's going to be there for a while, really should like wear ESD straps. I, on the other hand, am lazy, so don't do what I'm doing. Also, I'm working on like old junk, so I don't care if it breaks. Like, the worst case scenario here is I end up with 2 broken PCs instead of 1, and have to build a good one. Okay, hopefully that'll hold it in place. Ooh. I mean, I don't care about cable management at the best of times, but this is just a disaster. Okay, don't mess with the USB free. We want that to work. I think back when I dismantled this, it had like 4 hard drives in it, 2 optical. Gee, I hope that's nothing important. Okay, I'm gonna have to go around the back. So, unfortunately, I did make a mess. I really hope that's nothing important. So I spent the time routing those cables, so they could probably be important. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to assume you came out of there. If it doesn't work, remind me to check that wire. That honestly looks like a power supply, and it should be connected to something. It's actually SATA power. Yep, that is a disaster. But it's much nicer than it was. I mean, we only have 1 extra CPU power, which is fair enough. Oh wow, okay, I forgot how bad this was. CPU, super optional, fan, and... Do I actually have a pump option in here that I'm not paying attention to? Okay, it goes on CPU header, I don't really care. It's worked fine on there. Well, it's worked fine on there apart from this. It's like, if this thing, if it spins up to high speed, it just starts vibrating. Okay, let's take that out so it doesn't get damaged. And yeah, you just go into a USB 2 port. That's fine. I gotta say, most of these wires are going back in, but because I did so much damage when I took it apart, I'm being careful. So now we have this antique mess. But it looks a lot better than it did. That needs managing, of course. But, I mean, I've been obviously avoiding this, but it's very much time to get that CPU out. I've stuck down the back, so hopefully it holds in place. I can't remember exactly how you fixed it, because it was like 2 years ago I remade it for fun. I figured, look, AMD's had all these years in order to improve their software, right? Or improve their processors. Oh wow, okay, that does not aim anywhere. Now I'm hoping that the thermal grease hasn't stuck and I'm not going to have to damage anything doing this, but you never really know until you try. Oh wow, yeah, that's not stuck. And hey, this is the point where I remember that I'm going to need at least something to wipe the old thermal grease off. And I have nothing. You know, of all the things to forget. Give me a second, I'm going to grab something. I mean, if you need unprofessional, this is definitely where to go. Right, so hopefully I'm going to do this whole thing without getting any on my hands, so I don't have to go wash them. But that just came straight off. Okay, we unplug you, and unplug you, and unplug you. Yeah. Okay, now I've just got to hold that over there somehow. Okay, well, I haven't got anywhere near me yet, so I also don't want to get that stuff all over. And there is an AMD FX chip. Feel free to laugh. I figured I'd give them a chance. I mean, they've had a decade or so. I'd have improved. But no. That one is in fact slightly slower than the one I took out. So I know I'm going to avoid getting on my fingers, and then I do nothing. Well, I can guarantee at this point the problem I was experiencing was not as a result of a bent pen. But now we need a CPU to go in this. So let's get into the other one, shall we? Now I want to do this one first because I want to know if the problem's solved or not. If it isn't, then we've got a bigger problem. If it just blows up into a load of smoke, I've lost 2 computers. Now this case is from 2006, I think. Yeah, this thing's like 06. And this one has an air cooler. Oh wow, that's a lot of dust compared to what I was expecting. As you can see, prime of 2006 cable management. There isn't any. You don't. So we pop that out. It's like, yeah, there is nowhere in this case of cable management. It's why the older people did it. As you can see, this one was pulled together from scrap. Obviously, by the fact that we literally have a hard drive just floating around and bouncing. Even though that is one of my better hard drives. I like that. So we lift that up, pop that loose, pop that side loose. That had a little bit of suction, but it was okay. As you can see, AMD coolers from the era did not have to deal with much heat because they have not covered that CPU. So let's just get it all off again. Once I've done this, I'm going to wash my hands anyway because it's good practice. Also, I don't deal with much dust. That is original from 2006. Oh god, my cable management is awful. But that CPU block's only been on there a year as well, because I transferred between the two last time. That looks okay. Admittedly, it's an FX core. It looks as good as it's ever going to. Yes, just to note, when I'm describing myself as an AMD fangirl, I continued buying FX processors. Oh yeah, that camera's not on. And the thing that kept me from doing this, because this or the other PC finally died at the start of the pandemic, the only thing that kept me from doing this beforehand is the fact that I couldn't get my hands on thermal compound. I have checked. This CPU is compatible with this socket. Well, actually, this motherboard. It's only semi-compatible with the other one. So that one comes over here. Right. Do not drop you on the CPU and do not drop the CPU. Important lessons. Ow! So yeah, this is quite a basic procedure. Oh, I thought this was 65. It's a 63. Why did I think it was a 65X? Sorry, no, a 6500. Like, huh. I appear to have forgotten what my own CPU was. Oh. At least 50 health warnings. But yeah, I finally got my hands on some thermal grease, so it's going on. Realistically, I've only ever used the pre-applied before, so this is going to be new. But yeah, the pre-applied's been fine. I mean, the one that's nearly 13 down there is just fine with the thermal grease that came with it. Even though I imagine at this point, that's not true. Okay, so I believe just emptying the whole tube is the tradition. Oh wow, okay, that RAM isn't in. Whoops. That should do. Say these tubes use such a small amount, it's weird. And as what I've heard since, this is literally a collection of cursed parts. It's those two and those two, yes. Well, it's spreading. I may have loosened those off. I do not remember how this thing was installed, so if it's wrong, because this is of course from the days where basically no one in their right minds would have an AMD. I mean, that's not true now, but now yes, I am going to be doing them up in an X pattern, but I'm just doing them down so they touch, make contact, then go for the X pattern afterwards. Now the last one of these I did, I actually messed it up. and ended up with the RAM sticks not working properly. Okay, so I'm going to make an assumption that that's on. I should, but I'm not, because I'm not that dull. And of course I'm paranoid, because when the manufacturer does it, I'm okay with it. But when I do it, I've got to double check. Are you kidding? Okay, it's glued itself. I'm going to assume that's fine. It glued itself. I mean, if this surface area has enough to create suction, it should be fine. Now realistically, what I should do is move this. Okay, so they're all making contact. No. Now I'm likely I've missed something and I'm shorting out the back. This board is pretty good motherboard. So. Nope, I have the insulator plate. I wasn't done. At this point, I think I need to discharge. In common sense. Okay, now, for this test, I don't actually require anything. Like, I could put windows on it, but to note, this graphics card is a 450, I think. It'll be enough to get a display on a monitor, which, to be fair, is what I want. And yes, using one of the case thumb screws, I know. So, just to avoid the complaining from the computer, should I run it nicely beforehand? Yes. I'm going to have to come back, do this later, so I can either do it now or do it at the end. I have two options. Okay, so that's the piece here. Now that's the cooler fans, so okay, so you go in there. This is back in the day when they thought it was a smart idea to run everything straight off of the motherboard. I mean, it's not disastrously bad, but there you go. Okay, and that is everything in that needs to be in for the test. I don't know what that lever power supply is for. I don't know what those are for. Right. Back over there and right. Just for a basic post, I don't need anything to monitor, so now fortunately this is a studio, so I have a lot of spare plugs. I've never tried this before, looking like with it aimed at something. To note, the last few months have had a huge effect on my setup, part of which includes why this is not down here anymore. And yes, an old VGA cable. That's embarrassing, but VGA in. I mean, you could see when I last used that, right? It's when this card was relevant. Last year, because that's the last time I was using it. Power, please. So, this will do one of two things. If the stream suddenly stops when I push the button, we know what happened, okay? Gee, I hate doing this stuff live. Okay, stream's still running. That's a good start. Okay, I've got my RAM in properly, my processing. Just give it a keyboard. This keyboard's also old trash. 90% of my stuff is old trash, okay? Okay, so the stream's either about to abruptly end or work. Well, it hasn't ended, so we're still live. That's a good start. Okay, and we have an error light. Okay. Oh. We have an error light. New CPU installed and set up to configure the system. Yep. F1 to enter setup. You know when I unplugged the USB 3? That was at the front. F1? Okay, well, we have setup. I say the studio is pretty chilly at the moment. When I say studio, I mean garage. Yeah, I know. Monitor, voltage. Well, it's a little bit over, a little bit under, but I mean, it's a little bit excessive on everything, but what's installed? 16 gigs of DDR3, yeah, that's correct. So the problem was that I was having was literally DRAM voltage going down to 0, North bridge going down to 0, South bridge going down to 0. And at the moment, vCore 1.4, great. Well, I don't know what the error light is. But I'm just going to have to keep an eye on that for... Essentially, I'm just going to leave this thing running in the background while I'm doing the rest. Let's not do it that way, let's do it this way. I mean, I need to see that, so I didn't think of how to do that on camera, so my apologies. Where'd I get the grid pattern from? Probably moving this, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's one last. We've got to get the CPU into here. Now you may think, how is this going to stream on a 450? The 450... Oh, hear that fan. Can you hear it coming off the... Actually, no, is it running? Yeah, okay, the cooler's running. Sorry, I forgot to check that. I mean, I'd have found out when I overheated and burst into flames, but... Okay. Let's get... Okay, we've got... Second cooler. Just chuck it on. Probably far too much. Would not surprise me in any way. Also, this is the original cooler that was made for that CPU. I know it was on the wrong one. I don't care. There's nothing around there to do, and I went for one that claims to be non-conductive. Okay, now okay, that one seems to have a fine amount of suction, so I'm assuming that there is enough. Okay, and that's fixed. This one should theoretically just stop. Well, the voltages are running just fine with this one. Oh, that bearing. It's a cross between terrifying and a good idea. It's been like that since I got it, but right, I'm gonna go wash my hands a second. My apologies. Fortunately, I have tap nearby, so I can just do this. you go. I mean, should I be more concerned about that error light? That's literally telling me there is something wrong and I should be doing something about it. Very loudly and ominously. Okay, so in here, when I did this last time, I cut some corners because I was doing it in a rush. And when I did that, I mean, this is just loose, which is the, that. We're still running stably. I gotta be real careful doing that. I've got the back panel open. To be fair, one panel open isn't so bad, but when you've got two... Okay, so I can pop that out and pop that off. That'll be fine. Now I have other adjustments I'm going to make to this, so... Oh my god, the PCI Express cable, because that doesn't need a PCI Express cable, never fit it. And... so today I will answer the question as to why I fitted that on the modular power supply when it was unnecessary. Oh my god, I forgot about those. Molex to SATA power. Okay, now you may dislike the fact that I have an optical drive in there. I don't care. But I'm also chucking in this extra hard drive because that one down there is an ex-laptop hard drive that I had as salvage. I mean, this is one of my builds. You're going to be hearing that was just some old salvage a lot, because it's 90% of what I do. Because after you've built for a few years, you just end up with enough trash that you can just rebuild because you just have it left over. Oh my god, you've got 4 of them. Absolute cheek of it. Okay, and grab a socket cable, because I don't have loads of them laying around on the floor or something. Okay, and we have one SATA port left, so wow, am I glad I did that. So no, I put that computer the other way so we could see. Okay, you're the only one that's loose, so you go up to this hard drive. And you pop across here. Do you know, before, like, the pandemic happened, I was very anti putting a computer in my room. I am now in the position where I'm saying, no, we're going to keep it. Ah, don't break. Okay, now pull that lever. I mean, don't brute force it out, but that is a 1050 non-Ti. That little one is. For what it is, it works really well. So I'm not going to complain. I mostly play retro games and do setup for the gaming streams for this thing. So while I'm running the setup, I'm just testing, testing out settings, see how it works. I'm in fact testing with a 1050. Okay, now I need 2 small screws. Now this, okay, so we have standoff screws for hard drives, which, well, hard drive screws and finger screws are generally easily switched, so it doesn't matter. I mean, if that thing doesn't show how long I've been doing this, nothing does. Because you always get extras, because you never fit as many accessories for case or motherboard as you actually get. But you're always given, okay, you don't fit as many as are available, but you're always given enough screws for everything, so you can. Okay, we have no problem with that. That's good. So where is the power supply? Let's just get you down here. You are that way around, so let's pop you in. I mean, realistically, CPU transplant is easy. Getting the blithering fool who's doing it to do it properly, on the other hand. Oh wow, that's short. Have I ever taken that side? Oof, it's been a while. Because I don't really care where this drive goes. It just needs to be on something. And it's entirely metal cased, so I'm just going to stick it straight to the metalwork. Anyone who used to build old tiny computers will remember that. Oh, we're sticking your top down, are we? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, you go through there to that one, and you pop up to this one. Okay, you go through. Just note, there is a date on that hard drive, the one I just put in. It is, in fact, be careful, it's live equipment. Don't get too distracted here. But it is dated 2009. So I had to finish that at some point. So I'm just going to get two-sided tape, stick it on. It's just to keep it from rattling around and hitting anything important. I know it's on a tight enough piece of wire. Okay, well, we still haven't crashed yet on the other one. I'm glad that's still running. Oh wow, that was like the 5th most dumb thing I've ever done. Little PC speaker. Okay, there you go. That's as optimized as that's going to get. Okay, you're going to go back up? Yep. Yeah. Okay, so pop that up. Because the way they wire these things, that's funked. I got to remember that one specifically for this Corsair supply because it could destroy other supplies. Okay. Important thing here, CPU fan. Plug it back in. Try to wrap it around something so it doesn't go into the fan. And put the graphics card back in. Remember that screw I took out when I was like, I'll just chuck this somewhere. This is why you should have something to remind you of where you put things. But it's okay. Okay, that's running just, that will be just fine. Now, hopefully, now do I curse it? What temperature are you running? Uh-oh. How'd you go? Escape? Okay, that's how you go back. Okay, and checking the CPU on all the CPU temperature. We're fine. It's 29 degrees CPU and just idling, so it's fine. I find that worth checking occasionally, especially because, I don't know, some idiot put CPU, put thermal compound on it. Also, when it comes to the new side panels and why I don't like them, we lost this. You can't see that. We lost this kind of thing, which is just a vent that sets straight onto the CPU. I mean, it's... Oh, wait, no, just leave it on that camera, it'll be fine. Now, how do I do this without touching that by accident? This one should only take like 20-30 seconds. Well, theoretically this one should only take about 30 seconds because all I need to do is plug it in, get it on the monitor and just go, yep, it's working. Okay, don't touch anything in there and we'll be fine, okay? There you go. Now the point is I don't have like 4 or 5 keyboards, so sorry. Okay, and last power cable, because I'm not used to using this many kettle leads. I actually had to go into my collection and find one. I say that like I don't have 50 million of these things laying around. So this lead go pop will work. I have no time. So yeah, if the stream ends suddenly, please tell me the quality is still working. Okay. Okay, we haven't let the initial blue smoke out. Put it into the CPU port that is not the USB port that is not on fire. Oh. I forgot to reattach the controls to the cooler, didn't I? It's okay, it's all running in auto, it'll be fine. Delete, I believe it is. That one. Switch source. HDMI, yes. That should be it. Okay, F1 to run setup because it's recognized the CPU change. That's fine. Let's see if this was a fault with the motherboard. I can't show you. Okay, so I can't show you because this one is sitting on it. But my half-built CPU is a bit of a problem. So CPU configuration, okay, yeah, that's the correct CPU. It's an 8370E, by the way. Chipset, I do not care. What? Hardware monitor. Okay, you do not care about your chassis fan speed. Your CPU is fine. CPU is running normal, I guess. Fan actually running in there. Yeah. And we don't have a chassis fan. No, we have a chassis fan. I mean, I had an option of replacing that thing and I didn't. Okay, I don't care. I'm gonna run this old one. I'm gonna run until it wears out, and I've just got to watch this one to see if it crashes, that's all. But there is a fair chance that it in fact was crashing just to incompatibility with the motherboard. So I mean, the CPU has gone up to 26, but I'm guessing that that's fine. DRAM speed, whoops. Oh wow, okay, I'm not doing that manually here. Right, so I'll say this one's working, give or take a little bit. And this one seems to be fine, so I mean, I'm getting some heat off the top, but nothing big. So let's shut that down. Yeah. Just exit, I haven't changed anything, I just had a look. Okay, and the operating system. Okay, that's worrying. That was a claim that there was no operating system. That's very worrying. There definitely is one in there. This one doesn't have an operating system though, because I took it out. Okay, so let's just put that somewhere it's safe. North Bridge is still fine, South Bridge fine. Yeah, I think it really was just the CPU doing that. So why can't it detect my hard drive is the question. Have I just forgotten to plug something back in? Or... oh, you plugged in okay. I had to stick it in the most awkward place, didn't I? Okay, usually when you hear loud snapping noises, it's bad. In this situation, it just means it unstuck. But I've got to go back in there, check. Fingers is though, I can guarantee this is the boot drive. So, it's there. I can see it. It exists. Okay, so after this long, that one hasn't failed, so I'm going to turn it off. That's, okay, and just exit and restart, yeah, sure. And I haven't changed anything, but go nuts. Okay, and you're off. Alright, so let's get my working one going first, and then we'll get the working one here going first, then we'll focus on getting this one back alive. I didn't do up the screws, did I? Come on, please tell me it. Okay. That one has a whole list of things to repair in it. This one has very little, so I'm going for the easy one first. Now the power running down's fine, the graphics were fine, so realistically this one just should be boot order that needs redoing. Yeah, I do unplug a little bit excessively, but come on, let's have a look. Okay. Everything's up and running, we're in the right port, everything's in correctly. It could well just be that wire I put in, it's a bit balked. I wouldn't put it past me to do that. Okay, yep, you're up and running. Fan's running, everything's going, we're fine. No, everything's running. So, let's go back over here and see what this is complaining about. Yep, thanks. You told me I didn't have a drive last time. How many drives do I have? Samsung SSD. Well, that would be the problem. Samsung SSD, yeah. Okay, second load. If it gets to Windows, I'm happy. To be fair, the video when I built this thing, it was a disaster. It took me like 3 or 4 attempts to even get there. Okay, we've got boot, so our drive's working. Yeah, it's just a boot order. Unfortunately, the BIOS in this is so old. Yep, there you go. Got Windows. How do I get tab? Power and shutdown. Yeah, shutdown anyway. I don't care, I know what you've got running. I'm the one who put it there. Okay. So that's one problem down. So this one's back up and running-ish, possibly. We don't really know. But, I mean, this one's my test rig for the room, so... I'll find out. And I mean, worst case scenario is I take the antique that's down there and I start streaming off that. Right now, I just stream to it from my actual gaming rig. That works. Okay. We now have one working PC, so we're not in tears yet. I haven't stress tested it, but you only really need to... Oh god, my posture's awful. So, you don't really need to stress test it unless you're doing something that will cause it to break when stressed. And nothing that I'm doing will cause them to break when stressed. I'm not overclocking them. The worst case scenario for them is turbo boost. So switch back to one. Okay, so all of that's in place, all the power buttons work, and we're fine for all of that, which is good because that's what we wanted. Now, I have to make this thing look remotely presentable because we can't just have wires hanging around like that everywhere. First up, let's find the control cable that came with it, the USB one that goes into my pump. Sorry, the CPU block. Wow, okay, I'm getting bad with words. There it is. Okay. So you come in here. Oh yeah, you're like awkward, aren't you? Okay, and that's me discharged to 2 points. Should have done that first, but I mean, it's plugging in a USB. Come on. How many people properly lift themselves before touching a USB port? And yes, everyone who said yes, is lying. I know you are. Sorry, place. I do not drop. I do things properly, damn it. Well, ish. Okay, there you are. You come in there, back out there. Okay, and flipped up. So, I mean, people wonder why I don't bother with cable management. It's this. You get very little out of it, at least in my opinion. Okay, you're a USB port, you're fine. Okay. Oh wow, that's a PCI port, isn't it? What is it? I know I think it is a PCI port. I keep forgetting just how old my equipment is. So we deal with that one last. We need to get the hard drives into this. Now these are some actually quite nice hard drive cages. well, thicken with it, and I don't care. So now, one of these two contains an operating system. I'd hate to tell you which, but I genuinely don't know. Those look like appropriate screws. Tell you what, no, I'll just use the ones that I've already agreed are proper screws for it. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I can guarantee you the one that has the operating system on it will be the worst. Because past me is an absolute jerk. I know her that well, that she has screwed me over so many times. It's like, it's okay, you don't know how SSDs work, just buy one, it'll be fine. Okay, that's too hard, won't screw in. That's because I did this one up too tight. When you're doing them, screw them in loosely and then do the last one up tight. Don't just do them all up as tight as possible straight away, because that leads to mistakes. Okay, and so I think the SanDisk is the worst, so that's not a comment on SanDisk. I just strongly suspect by my purchasing style that would be the worst one of the group. It may well be a damn good drive, I don't know. I mean, there is a reason why my fastest and largest SSD is in the one that is running this now and is 13 years old and just has no place having a drive that fast. So no, it's not the best and biggest SSD I have. I have bigger and faster, but I bought all them for my latest rig, which was built after I did all these. Oh wow, okay, no, I haven't done them up yet. On the upside, no more optical drives. So, SanDisk on top, in the right way. I gotta say, this is the first case that I ever had that had removable things, so you can just do that to get a hard drive out. And it's not hot swappable, but heck, is it better than anything I'd had before. Okay, let's get you two out. Pop, pop. Yeah. That's not where you start, is it? So let's get that and run it through the back. You know what? I'm doing all this inside. This doesn't even have a glass side panel. Like, nobody will see this apart from, like, the people here. Okay, you go over the top of that and pull it through. Okay, and we just pop you on there, and we pop you on there. Realistically, I do that the other way, actually, because the first one is the 4-pin. And that's... I don't know what these are. It's SATA power to something, and these are fan extension headers. What were they doing? Oh. There's a little speed controller under there that I've never seen before for the fans. Okay, they're junk. They're junk. Don't need to worry about that. Keep that lock back there. Okay, now the fact that we have direct drives means that I can go all in on this and swap my fan and swap my radiator direction. Would someone like to tell me this is a bad idea to do it while it's all plugged in? I don't mean into the mains, I mean plugged in to, like this, down back. Oh wow, if they weld it. Okay, well if they weld it, I don't care. Let's get all the top screws out. Do you know, camera one can see almost nothing. Okay, when I pull this last one out, we are going to be dropping a large heavy object into this. So, ow! Okay, we're not dropping a large heavy object into this. Okay, what am I stuck on? Oh. Okay, that's the CPU optional supply. Which, because it's so tight, I had to wrap around the damn wires. Or wrap around the radiator leads. Okay. Let's just Right. So last time I did this, that's an encouraging amount of air to hear in a liquid cooler, isn't it? Okay, so let's run those through. Do we have a center? No. Okay, you go through there, you go through there. Actually, yeah, you should be able to make it for that. Infield. Go button. There's literally a button in there, it's called Go button. Okay. heat back on. It's got cold again. Okay, let's swing that back up. Annoyingly, this CPU cooler is on the compatible list of this case. But it's that close. I mean, I could move the fans up outside. Okay, so there you go. If this breaks, I'm going to be cranky. But it just does not want to go on, does it? Okay, what are we actually stuck on? Is that it? Like that. So I'm remembering now. This was a slight test fit last time. Whoops. It's okay, it was heatsink. So I'm going to go with plan B and just take out this screw that's blocking it. I mean, you only need three screws in a fan, right? Okay, there is no metal washer or anything. Okay, that appears to be the right spot. Let's just get one screw in so we can basically guide it using that. And you might about to say, that sounds like the most dumb idea ever. And you're probably right. Okay, where are we stuck on? That's one in. That's two, and now I don't care. We're only supporting one side, but that bit, and we now have a power supply that is supposed to be connected but isn't. So, I mean, we're gonna have to do some unmessing. Let's reroute you. Hopefully you'll just go in. Whoops, that fell out. Come on, in here. There you are, right next to the fan, perfectly safe. Definitely not going to be a problem having that there. Right, I'm sorry, the only way I can zoom is that. But power supply is fine. It's alright, we can deal with all the rest as we go along. Admittedly, I prefer that to be properly mounted, but considering that it only just went in with the mounts missing, oh crap. One of the washers is gone. Whew. Okay, found it. It's compatible, but heck, that is a podge getting that in. Hey look, I get to put my fan on the inside this time. I didn't last time. Last time I had this case together, we had the back fan literally outside there. So let's flip it down. Right, no. We deal with this first. So we deal with this first, and one, two, three. Okay, yeah. I don't see that going wrong at all. Definitely nothing dangerous that's gonna spark or touch anything electrical right behind the CPU socket. We'll be fine. I mean, those controllers. There. Okay, so we've got all that. That's in, that's in. We've got the fan in. We've got all the wires in. We don't have a hard drive yet, so let's just grab these. I don't need so many this time, so also, contrary to popular belief, I'm not I'm not putting in both drives, down to the fact that I don't know which one's on. They're both 100 gig, which basically gives me enough room for Windows on one of them, and nothing on the other, so I can record to it. It's wrapped around the back, so I'm just pop through and through. Okay, can you just get through there so I can fix you on this side? The whole thing's in knots. It's fine. Oh wow, that bit of plastic was flimsy as heck. That's not a good fit. Okay. So I've determined that these are just an extra set of fan controls, just in case I ever wanted them. Unfortunately, I just realised what I was yanking on after yanking on it for a bit. I'm glad there's an adapter in the way of my stupidity. And the mistake I made there, just because I have to say it, ooh, that looks like a control point I can use to stick something down. That's good. Was to forget the fact that there's front panel connectors that need to be connected. See, I've got like 500 of these things floating around now, so. So let's get a cable tie in there to make this look a little less like a mangled mess. So start off up here. Nope, separate that one out. So just run a limb round and run that down to the back. My old workmates would have my head if I did this badly. Really, I thought I had them all. I mean, there's nothing here I can't fix for the mess it up, but so grab those, put them together. I mean, and put that on. Grab the second one and we just run it down. plugged that in yet, so that can just run along the outside. And down back into there. That's the front panel audio connector, which is wrapped around everything. It's nice. Wow, that did not want to come out easy, did it? Oh, I've got to put it out again. Okay, let's get me a flathead screwdriver so I can pop that off. Where'd that... hour and a half in, I cannot remember where half my stuff is. So, this has to come out. And this one doesn't, because I've literally wired it in the worst way possible. It's fine. Go for it, keep them out the way. Okay, just put them in like that. Drag it along. And we now have that nice little bundle going along, and okay, so we'll ignore that for now. This one needs to pop out there in a second, so that's the position of that. That's plugging the USB. I first saw a broken pin for a second. That was horrifying. Okay, that's it. So this is the last one of this bundle. That goes through and like that. Try not to, when doing that, try not to fold the wires because that damages them. And then the front panel audio, wherever I put it, should run up and over as well, just because I did it with the first set. That is not remotely necessary. Once this is through, that's the worst thing. So, see, this is the bit where it's annoying because that is the card going in doesn't have PCI Express power, at least. So if I bundle it in now to make it look all pretty, it'll just be hanging there forever for no real purpose. I think I just broke something. So what we need is a first point of control immediately after the last section. Because when you drop wires off, the first thing you need to do is regain control of the bundle. Like that, it's close enough. Okay. That can come out for a second. Yeah, that is pulling out the pins with it. Yes, that's bad. Okay, and all of those belong on that side, so we're going to just do them over there. That one pops up through that hole because that's the easiest place to have it. And we run this like this with you included in the bundle. So now we run that with these. Hopefully my cable ties long enough. I'll go get a long one if I have to. Okay, like that. And then we do this. Fine, shut up. So we've got that. That was a bad idea. That one should be last. So. Naturally, we start off up here. So, run it all in. And we can pull the rest of that back up there, and I mean, I can tell you why doing this is a bad idea. Because you see, this power supply doesn't actually supply DC. It supplies close enough to DC to trick everything in here into believing it is, but it's actually supplying really high frequency AC. giving us some Hell Earth bleed. And when you run AC and DC together, when you're running signals like this, so you've got the USB 3 there, and that's a signal. And without a ton of shielding, this will interfere with that, which is why you shouldn't do it. But who cares about that, as long as it looks pretty, right? I am aware they put RF shielding in place to mitigate it, but okay, it's in. You through, I will cable tie you off or something. Come here and so that's up here. I've got all of this back here. So I mean, it's a CD drive bay. Nobody is going to care. There's a ton of cable wound up in it. Just wind that up. It's slightly off camera, damn it. Okay, and that's just done up in here. Wow, okay, that was the wrong camera. But I just wound them up there, and I'm then just going to cable tie it to the edge of the cage. I mean, heck, you gotta have this stuff look neat, right? Stephanie isn't me overcompensating because I'm quite sure I once lost a job over the neatness of my build. It wasn't PC building, but didn't really figure they'd be looking at my PC builds like for neatness in a job interview. So this one going to be much prettier. Just don't look at my main rig. That's literally adhesive with duct tape. To note at 1 hour 50 minutes. I strongly doubt that anyone would be watching to test for a job interview. I hope. I don't know. The future could be interesting that way. So, you accused us of being lazy at like 1 hour 51? Like, what? Well, I mean, thanks for the watch time, but I? No, I gave it to someone else, didn't I? Yeah, I think I gave my cable tie cutter to someone else. Okay. There you are. Neat enough. I have one more cable to go in, so... Okay, no, I don't have one more cable to go in. I have one more cable of the main set to go in. So, number one. Why do they do it that way? They expect me to be powering it from the top, therefore making this whole arrangement make sense. Well, there you are. Answers to stupid questions. We are receiving them today. So, all I've got left to do after this already replugged you? Whoops. Thought I'd already got that. Yeah, okay, that's a SATA port. It's fine. That wire is just getting removed in the end, so we're okay with it. What am I doing? Through that one. So chuck that there, and please ignore the gnat's nest. Okay, doesn't look that bad. I've passed worse. Okay, now we have to deal with the fact this thing has no form of ventilation fans. So I'd say back one is definitely going to be the original Corsair. Because, I mean, it's the back one, it gets to be the original. Now when I pulled all these out this morning, I put all the screws somewhere. I can't remember where. I know I put them somewhere for safekeeping, but well. By the way, this is the reason why you can hear crunching all the time, because I'm just throwing trash all over this floor. Okay, let's get that. Now, okay, let's just go back. Sorry, that's camera one. So, where is the nearest... Okay, so the nearest fan supply is there. So I'm going to wrap this around there and just cable tie it off at the end. And I want it blowing out. These fans blow towards the sticker. And there's an arrow. Okay, yep, that's fine. So I've got cable tied it on around, so it's just wrapping the wire around the fan. So, it starts off there, wrap around, just keep out the way. And of course, admittedly, these are questionable quality fans. I don't know, they're the ones that came with the case, sorry. But I mean, this is me we're talking about, so yeah. Okay, fine. I reserve the right to say it is a questionable quality fan when I have a faulty one delivered with up to with the CPU cooler. Are these like specific ones? Yes, they are. So those are general fan screws, and these have specific ones for these. They weren't fitting properly, but remember when doing this up, you don't do up too tight because you'll strip the thread. And once you strip the thread on a fan, you're screwed. So pop you in down there. Okay, that's literally the exact length. I'm so glad that is not like... Is that a fan? Yeah, okay, that's a fan, and there's a CPU next to it. And there's a temperature probe next to it. But that's the one I used to be popped through, but I used to come in through the PCI Express thing there. Do I have one of those screws that I can just chuck in so it'll be safe? Yep. Okay, that's more secure, that's what we needed. That's one of the back case screws, so. Right, so we've done that. Now we need to rip the front off. So let's get this down so I've got it somewhere safe. Now the fan headers for the front are... There's a fan header there. So no, bottom by there and one by there. This one up there, which is a chassis fan, yeah. So I think I'm going to end up with those two. Or I'm going to end up in trouble. I don't really care. Well, that was easier than I expected. Let's grab these two old fans. They are Cooler Masters of some variety. I don't know. I think the original ones that came off this case are currently in the PC that is on and running the stream. So I don't, because these are the fans that I bought for that case. So I do understand the problem. That I'm putting crappy fans in yet, but I don't care. These fans are a lot louder, but this case has speed control on it. Oh no, sorry, the motherboard that has loads of fan ports with speed control on them. Oof. Amount of dust. Let's give that a clean, shall we? Okay, we got some off. That's sort of better, I guess. I know. Okay, I would go with the normal rule of don't, wow, okay, I forgot my own lines, so. Okay, so it blows towards the sticker is aiming inwards, so hopefully, if this fan is working correctly. It's okay, I know they spin, I just don't know anything else about them. That is gonna be close. Like seriously, if both of these fit, I'm gonna be surprised. Can that reach through any other holes on this thing? No, 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 no. It's okay, I have a plan. It may involve a bit of shouting at it, but unfortunately all of my extenders are in a PC that's currently on. Okay, and we can screw that down, and they're secured. They do not reach. Oops. So if I do we get near to anything that I can plug it into? I mean, we have one up there that is just too short. And it's just too short for that one too. On a scale of 1 to mega dumb, how dumb am I allowed to be? No, that one's just a double. The ones to the front are powered by that, so I can't swap them. It's like that much out. I mean, ah. Are you really implying that I have nothing, even in this massive box of magic tricks? Okay, DC fan only, DC only, and DC only. Okay, a swift shot. Why'd do that? Okay, so they're all DC on. Anything else in here? That's the worst thing, when you get like to the end and then realise your work cables are too short. So do I swap one of these for on the back? Because those cables are marginally longer. Okay, so I'm just going to swap that one out for one of these so it works, and I know it's so much work, just oh well. This is part of what building PCs is. You gotta learn to take the slight failures. I mean, like, worst case, this is a mild inconvenience and barely even slows me down. Thank you. Alright, which one of you has stretched the furthest? Oh. So I'll pop you out. I can't believe I made this mistake again. I mean, I can grab that single extender later, and we'll be okay. Okay, it's that far back. All of my indicators for where the camera actually aims are for flat on the table, not this. Oops, didn't break anything today. Okay, might have a little bit, but I don't care. Let's swap you back over. I can put you through that hole. I mean, this one's even long enough to be fed, so... So we just dropped this one in on the back, so next is an out fan. Let's just grab another cable tie and tie that wire off, so... Yeah, that's a lot shorter on this one than it was on the other. The other one, just like... Let's cut that off. We don't want it going everywhere, do we? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yep, that's in the right corner. Realistically, this fan isn't even necessary. I had to put exhaust vents, I had to put exhaust fans on, just out of tradition, more than anything at this point. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter, because... Okay, ultimately it doesn't matter, because all the fans there are going to be pulling out through the radiator. So, realistically, it is just tradition for me. Because on the first one I built, gosh damn it, it'll be on this one. Literally, that's the attitude I'm going with here. Right, so we've got that in, we've got those, that. Could that work? Ow. Okay, so this is going to look like trash, but if I run it straight up and through that hole, because we've got 4 optional racks. So we just run it through that hole instead. It's not going to look as good because it's not going to be cable managed, but at this point, it's have a really nice cable managed fan that doesn't work, or have a bit of a mess that does. You know what? I'm okay with a bit of a mess. One thing I know for sure, I'm going to need to pee when I'm done with this. We've got a while before that happens. Don't worry. So let's flick that back over. And okay, it's on. Whew. Okay, so that's some awful cable management, but I don't care. Can I run it through there? Make it look a little prettier. Yes. Okay, so that's just a little prettier now because it's running through there. That is a problem, but I don't care. You'll find that a lot. And that came out of my well, you know, that's how I made it fit last time. There wasn't a screw in the one down there, so I just had to swap ends. So I mean, it looks slightly better. There's no sharp metal around there, is there? It's going to cut those pipes. I don't want that happening. Okay, so I think we got everything. Yep. I do like the wire. I do like the cables coming in the end, though. That's much nicer. So we got it, and I mean, it looks awful. Don't worry about it. This time I should theoretically be able to plug into the front. Be able to control the BIOS because I've actually got my USB 3s back in. Oh wow, okay, which one's which? That one's power, okay. I'm not going to do anything as complicated as set up the fan curves, but if it's even possible, I don't remember. This is I haven't used this motherboard in like 9 months, and haven't set anything up on it in longer. Oh, did I forget to give the warning? Like, if stream falls over, we know what did it. Okay, all of the lights inside the motherboard are on. That's a very good sign. Everything started up. That's a better sign. That looks... My motherboard says... Oh, sorry, no, my keyboard's lit up, so... Okay. Let's have a look here. Ooh. Oh, I did not realise I was that dehydrated. Oh wow, it overclocked itself. Interesting. I think it's 33 it's supposed to be running it. I can't remember. Voltages, yeah. Okay, we're still fine on there. Ignore we're not using you anymore. Ignore we're not using you anymore. And ignore we're not using you anymore. And I think that's my 3 fans. I like the massive variance in speed between them. We got two at about 700 and the other one at 1.5K. Oh, it was the heater. Okay, so, right. I actually need this table high for this type of work, but yeah, they're all at 40%, blah, 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 yeah, it's fine. Fine, I can't hear them. Okay, boot. Oh, the Windows boot partition. I wonder which one we're going to boot from. It seems to be option 1, so yep, we haven't changed anything. Just checked it's working. And we got Windows. Does this one have a password is the question, because I do not remember. Windows? Oh wow, okay, you're not running the right resolution. Okay. Let's not show my passwords, that would be an advantage. So, the important question now, the amount of crap that I have on here that is trying to run. You know, like, currently I had like a load of games installed on this, so... Okay, is there anything actually like bad on my desktop that I should be worried about? Sorry, I was using some personal computer for ages. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything, not so much incriminating, more bad. Which basically a ton of games. So can you actually detect CPU time? How are we doing? We have no network, of course we don't. We are running at, so that's about right for the speed. 16 gig RAM, you've managed to detect all of it, that's good. And the SSD is probably screaming at you because we haven't managed to do something right. Windows is not happy, to put it mildly. On that, did I keep my drivers in here? I don't know, but we seem to be working-ish. I can't connect it to the internet at the moment to the drivers because... So what do I even... Okay. Let's see what the NVIDIA drivers say. These are not the right drivers, but hopefully it'll be able to find it. It doesn't matter. The drivers I'm putting in are going to be the ones... Fine, look. The worst that happens is it breaks, right? I made it this far. Oh wow, this is... Oh my god, how did... We used to stand having computers this slow. I think I know what's happening, it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, this is not the latest graphics drivers, but that card is what, 5, 6? Oh my god, no. It's about 9 years old, so it may be a relevant driver. Fortunately, it's not like the old days where you could just install whatever you want and let chaos reign. That was distinctively more fun. You could just blow it all up, it's fine. And yes, I am watching the rig at the back, make sure nothing drastic is happening. Oh my god, no, that is too slow. Sorry, I just saw the speed that's running at. Nope. See, unfortunately, I did not plan for this. If I'd planned for it, I would have put some drivers on that and have thought it through. I didn't. My bad. Cannot continue. Requires a DCH version which cannot be downloaded automatically. Okay. So I can't get a driver. I don't have anything apart from the one connecting to the stream, so it works. I'm gonna have to come back later and do it all properly, but I will say that is running, not in the correct resolution, and yeah. Unfortunately, this room is nowhere near the internet connection. So I'm just going to shut that down and... Oh, that's... Okay. I could still hear a fan going, and I was just like, why can I still hear a fan going? Oh yeah, that's the one I'm recording on. Sorry, no streaming, bloody hell, and recording, but you know. So let's just get her back together. Look relatively pretty, and... Okay, no, I was explaining about how this place works. Basically, the connection down here, I've had to run literally all the way around the house in order to get to it, so I had one Ethernet that was long enough to manage it. And I mean, you can't see it, but it literally runs up over the ceiling and down. Sorry, no, it runs there, and down to the PC. Where I don't have a network switch in here. Which, to be fair, it's a room with one computer. Why would you need a network switch, right? So, no, the only thing I ever actually do down here is stream crafting. And that doesn't need a second PC. So that goes in like that. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting to show people things. Oh. And pop that one in there. You can see there is a lot of dust in the bottom of this. I imagine there was originally a dust filter that I have not lost. Ooh. Just this. There you are. That's a year of streaming. Actually, no. I stopped using this rig mostly because when editing videos for upload, it literally took the entire day. Like, I'd get home from work, put the PC or put the streams on to go, and it was like 3, 4 a.m. something like that before like anything was usable. It's like, oh, your CPU is running at maximum. 6 hours later, your CPU is still running at maximum. Can I not wait for the day when they get rid of this stupid system? You know, when it takes at least 3 people to get a case on, yeah, it's terrible. Don't do it. Okay. And that's the bottom fan for the intake. Oh, that way. Massive fan, tiny intake. Oh, sorry, no, massive filter, tiny intake. Of course, I may as well put the side on. I mean, I'm not going to be leaving it on permanently. I'm not going to be doing it live because the GPU that's going in this is currently running the stream. And you do not want that. Let's turn you around. I think if I actually got to design this room, this table, this one's fine for crafting because I sit on it, or I sit by it. I've got a chair back there and another one over there, but for PC work, I need like this height table. Okay. That's basically it. So, I was surprised it worked. I hope it's working properly. I mean, I'll find out because I've got to do some proper testing on them. That one's got games on it already that I can just run, so that's fine. But this one, I need to put something on to test. Get it running for a while. So, that's it. I'm done. And, well, hopefully you've enjoyed me messing around with computers. I don't do this very often because, well, these are my previous PCs and they're FX CPUs. So you can see just how often I build and work on stuff. It's not very. And otherwise, thanks for coming. Hopefully see you next time on crafting. Or games. I mean, you can come for games if you want. Okay. Bye.